Hello, citizens of YouTube. This is the Geeky Nerd here, and today we're going to be talking about a little special piece that I have that falls in line with my HK fascination. Of course, I'm talking about the HK USP. So before I get too deep in the weeds, I'd like to send a big thank you out to everyone who has liked, commented, and subscribed on the previous videos. I always appreciate it and always enjoy talking to you guys and kind of getting your feedback and just engaging with the 2A community. Also, if you're new to the channel here, welcome. If you like this video and like the type of content we have here, please consider liking, commenting, or subscribing. With the PR out the way, let's get into it. So, HK USP. You know you love it. I love it. You watch Collateral, and then you had to have one. This just happens to be the USP Compact variant. They want to use in the movie Collateral, USP 9, which I know you shouldn't buy guns off movies, but it's kind of the fun part of the hobby. Is you can see a movie and say, oh, I like that gun. I want to see what it's like, and then you either like it or you don't. I went with the compact variant because I have my HK P30L, which I'm going to kind of be doing a comparison between the two pistols, but this is a different breed of pistol. So before we start messing with it here, safety check, nothing there, nothing there. And we're all good to go. So, the HK USP is a special pistol for a few reasons. One, it's a timeless design. It's fairly aged, I guess you would say. The USP Compact came out in 1996. So, definitely a bit long in the tooth, I guess you'd say. One thing about it, though, that you have to say is the fact that if it didn't work or it wasn't good, they wouldn't keep making them and wouldn't keep selling them. So obviously it's doing something right. Also, a lot of the features that were introduced on the Compact were kind of first for its time and was definitely like a modern pistol because, again, I'm talking about the USP series in general. I will get into the specifics of the Compact here, but the USP and the Compact are exactly the same, just size difference and spring difference. But considering that the German military was going from P38s to this, so that's kind of a big transition that they were definitely making. And of course, one of the things that makes the USP legendary and iconic is its reliability, because when you're making that big of a transition from P38 to your next pistol, especially when it's from real steel to plastic, you have to instill confidence in people. And one way they did that was by torture testing the heck out of these things. They shot I don't have the specifics, but they shot a slew of rounds, tens of thousands of rounds through it, of plus P plus ammunition, ran it through hell and back in half of Georgia, and just basically beat the ever-living crap out of it. And the USPs came out on top, and that kind of comes to their overbuilt qualities that they have, and we'll show you. Now, the USP was based off of the 40 caliber cartridge, 40 Smith & Wesson, so higher pressure, bigger cartridge, things like that. And the subsequent versions, where they were chambered in 9mm, were basically a scaled down version from that. Now, what's going to happen is when you are designing a pistol, whatever your cartridge that's based around is kind of going to be the perfect standard, because obviously it's based around that. When you scale down, if you go to a lesser cartridge, not that 9's a lesser cartridge, but like a less powerful, less heavier, less diameter, just less everything, then you're going to get a bit more ruggedness. Now, if the USP standard, which is chambered in 40, was built like a brick outhouse, then when you bring it down to a 9, which is less pressure, then it's just going to get more and more reliable. So enough about kind of the USP overview. I'll get a little bit deeper that in the future, but this compact variant. So I love it. It's a good pistol. A few things about it. It has the carbon fiber reinforced, or not carbon fiber, sorry, just fiber reinforced polymer, which is nice. So a lot of pistols, have their different polymer blends, but this is definitely a bit more rugged, I guess you'd say. Also, the polymer in a lot of areas is reinforced and thickened, and I'll do a comparison video. Be on the lookout for that. Just kind of between how they've kind of transitioned, but the USP is where it all kind of started. So they also have a hostile environment finish, which is essentially, you want to think of it, nitriding on steroids. Basically, this kind of finish is going to wear a lot better than just your standard nitriding. It's also more saltwater resistant and just kind of everything plus. On the compact variant, and I'll watch all the variants, they do have a paddle-style mag release, so you can see that there. It is joined together, which is nice, so it isn't separate, so it's a little bit more rugged in that aspect. I usually find it's easier just to hit it with your finger. They do come with 13-round magazines, which metal, really nice. The USP standards, they come with polymer, which and it's 15 rounds, so you aren't really losing a whole lot here. It does have a rubber floor plate. You can see there it has P2000 or USP Compact. They do take all the same mags. Also here, one thing a lot of people don't realize is this is my P30 mag, standard current gen. They will fit in there, and they will function perfectly fine. So, you can obviously have it sticking out. I have seen people do like some kind of mock-up jet funnel looking thing to kind of, compensate for that. Now, of course, there's a bit of a difference between that where you're getting essentially the same size magazine, but you're getting fewer rounds. It's pretty much to do with just that base plate and the follower. Now, one reason why they did that, and especially it's nice to have on this compact, which this compact I did carry for a small amount of time. I do still like carrying it, and I'm more of a hammer carry kind of guy on some days. But then I still like my Glock 19X, which I am thinking about maybe transitioning, but going back to the old hammer days. I started out on hammer fires, and then I went to strikers, and I might be going back to hammers. Regardless, one reason they do that is because traditionally on your carry firearm, you're pretty much going to leave it loaded all day, every day, 365. And springs, while they are reduced based on how much they are used, so the amount of times that travels up and down will create more wear on the spring than just leaving it here fully loaded. There is some still degradation that occurs with leaving a mag fully loaded. So with having that little bit of spacer in there to have less rounds in there and putting less tension on the spring consistently, then it's going to create a more reliable mag. Also, it's going to make sure that when it's all full the way down, there's no binding or anything like that. It still has enough oomph to kind of push its way up, because if you have a spring that's fully compressed, it can have a little bit of trouble kind of easing its way up as I shake the whole table. So has that paddle style mag release. It does have this is the variant 1 model, so it is the bobbed, well, all the compacts have bobbed hammers, but this is the safety decocker model. So basically you have it cocked and locked. You can lock it, or you can have fire, and then you can of course bring it down to decock, which is nice to have. Also, with the compact and with all USP variants, it does have the extended slide release. Now, this is what I would call a slide release, not just a not just a slide catch, because you can see there, this is how I usually differentiate it, is if it has serrations on it and is kind of protruded, then it's made to release the slide, and that's actually what the USP was designed for. So when it is locked to the rear, it's very easy to send that slide home just with that. So you can do either one. You don't have to worry about, some people say, oh, this is going to wear down, this is going to wear down. USP can take it. It does have a bit of old technology with the HK proprietary rail. Being my carry gun, I really don't see a point in putting a flashlight or anything like that on it. Just kind of my preference, just, making it as small as possible. So you can buy adapters for that, but don't really see the point. Again, this is specific to the compact. All of them have the proprietary rail, but as far as the flashlight part. The sights are just a standard 3-dot white sights. They are metal, which is nice to have. One thing you'll notice the difference between the USP compact and like the full size is that they are a bit more sloped. You can see they're kind of smaller. They're not as pronounced. They don't come up as far, and they're kind of more cut away on that edge, and that's just due to making this a more carry gun. That's also why it has a bobbed hammer here. Just, one nice thing. The polymer, like I said, is very rigid. It is stiffened. Definitely not going anywhere. When the gun is fired, you can see there, it does have here's a single stage. It does kind of come out a bit. It does have a bit of take up. And then you see there, it does have a bit of creep before it does break. The double action is very long, is very heavy compared to P30. And it's all the way back, and you're pretty much kind of waiting for it to go. Now, being that I'm like I said, cocked and locked kind of guy, not really too worried about it. It does have that bit of pre-travel, which isn't too bad. But overall, fairly nice, duty trigger. Moving on here to take it down. Actually, before we get to the takedown, I just want to bring up the fact that the newer generation HK USPs, you can see here that they usually have the proofing mark, the little staghorn, along with the data manufacturer that has actually been moved to the underside of the trigger guard. Just one thing you're going to note, it does kind of seem like it's a little weird out of place for that. They are still made in Germany. They are still proofed. I think they're doing it just to kind of save cost a bit, although HK, no compromise. But regardless. One thing about the trigger, it does have kind of a half cock position. So if you can listen here, you can kind of see there, and now it's pretty much in this position. So that is kind of a half cock position. You can still cock and lock it. Definitely have a little bit less travel that you have to overcome, and still that heavy brake. But if you want to kind of carry in that half cock position and carrying hammer down, makes you feel a little uneasy with, but it does have a firing pin block, so you ain't got to worry about, if you drop it, it's not going to go kablooey. To take the pistol down, just kind of pull it back just like any other HK, pull it back to that first pin. Now, this is a lot easier than my P30s. And you see there, this magazine slide release is big and bulky. You don't really have to worry about it. Now, it does seem like there's not a lot of metal there, but it's spread across a wide area. And then it just comes right off, which is nice. You see here, this has the recoil spring that does different from the standard USP, which gives a bit of soft shooting. This is the same as in a P30. Nothing wrong with this at all. Definitely reliable, but it just doesn't have that dual spring. You don't really need it, though, for the most part, in this smaller size handgun, also for a 9mm, regardless. Looking inside here, you can see that it does have metal reinforced rails, which are nice. They do have these little polymer end pieces. No concerns there. You can see your hammer, double action. Does have that trigger link bar. Kind of see everything. Now, one thing I will say about these is if you're looking to do swap any kind of triggers, which I love the LEM trigger, I just need to find one for a USP. If you're watching this video and you have a USP Compact LEM trigger, hit me up. But you can swap these out incredibly easy. Just punch a couple pins and away you go off to the races. But you can see here on the general polymer, it's definitely overbuilt in a lot of areas. No concerns of quality or anything like that here. So standard in the frame. This part, just like every other pistol, have your little barrel there. And looking inside the slide here, you can see, if it would focus, there's a lot milled out right here. Now, on the standard USPs or in the 40 variations of it, there is going to be all this material here, and that's just because of the higher pressures. With the 9, you don't really need it, and because the 9 is kind of anemic in power terms compared to the 40, you have to mill out a lot of material in there in order to allow the slide to reciprocate, generally. But you see there, built very nicely, machined out, if everything would focus. No tooling marks, as you expect from an HK. Nothing of concern there, but you could see that it is definitely a beefier frame, and it's hard to describe it, but it's just built solid. I mean, here you can look at kind of the standard profile of it. Now, these are machined from like a solid block, and you can see there it's just overbuilt. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. It's just very well built pistol. It does have the external extractor, which some people have mixed feelings about. Don't really care. It works. At least that's just for me personally. But overall, just a very stout, very well built pistol. Nothing of concern. Just drop it back in, as you normally would. Little hook goes down. Always hard doing it through a rangefinder, guys. And then you just slide it back on the rails. And then just kind of lock it back. After you do this amount of time, you get that Viper grip. Just line it up with those little notches right there. Pick the pin. And you're just going to drop it right back down. There you go. Good to go. So, again, most part, it's a fantastic pistol. Haven't had it for too long. I'd say under a year. But overall, very nice pistol. Very well built. It's very iconic. I mean, you look at this gun and you go, that's the 80s right there. Like, that is just 80s tried and true. And again, USP pistol being in very many video games, many movies, has kind of grown an icon following, but also armed forces around the world, it has gained a reputation of being reliable and, again, built like a brick outhouse. So with that, hope you guys enjoyed the general overview and just kind of review my take on the HK USP series and USP Compact in particular. If you like the video, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and I hope everyone's having a wonderful, awesome, fantastic day. I'll catch you guys next time. See you guys.